everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of Make It in Media, your weekly update of real media career advice, insider knowledge, and all the unfiltered behind-the-scenes truth about making it in the media world. Presented by me, Camila Brango, the Director of Community at the Center for Communication, where you'll get the insider tips on exclusive media job opportunities, and I'll tell you everything you need to know to secure that dream job. Now, for this very first episode, I figure, why not start at the beginning? We're talking about step one, and the most important one, discovering where you actually belong in media. You're here because you're passionate. Maybe you love storytelling or creating content, or live for the adrenaline of a breaking news moment. But I get it. There's so much out there, it can feel overwhelming. Like, should I go into journalism, production? Do you want to be behind the camera or in front of it? What even is media tech, and how do you make it all happen? You love editing, writing, running socials, maybe even messing around with a camera, or even hosting your own little podcast, like me. And I get it, media is huge. There's so many paths you can take. But here's the truth. And remember, I did promise to keep it real with you. You have to pick one, at least for now, for the start. Narrowing your focus does not mean giving up on all the other things you're good at. It just means putting your energy into the thing that gets you in the door faster. Let's say you've got experience managing your social media, but your dream is to work in TV production. Sure, some skills may overlap a bit, but someone who's been laser focused on producing versus someone who has passion projects, set experience, and even just a few solid examples, they're gonna get the call back over someone who hasn't produced anything yet. Your starting media really begins when you figure out your main interest and you're able to double down on it. That's the first real move. I know, it feels weird, like you're shutting the door on all of your other talents, all the creative stuff you love, but think of it more like this. You're not closing a door, you're opening the door, the one that leads to the thing you want the most. Now, maybe you're sitting there like, okay, Cami, cool, but what if I don't know what is that one thing yet? That's exactly what this episode is for. So today, I'm giving you a mix of real career stories straight from our Center for Communication panels and summits of people who are actually doing the work you might want to do someday. To give you some ideas, we're talking about journalists, producers, live music folks, and even media tech stars. You'll hear what their day-to-day looks like, how they got started, and what kept them going. All right, first up is someone who really knows her stuff. Whitaker-Moore. She's the executive editor of national news at Axios, which basically means she's behind a lot of the big headlines you see every day. But she didn't just stumble upon that role. Asia started out just like a lot of us.
I am a classic geriatric millennial journalist. My story is very cliche, but I started off doing a lot of internships, and that included in high school. I had an internship every summer, every opportunity that was offered to me from the time I was in high school all the way through college, study abroad, internship on internship on internship. And I think that I, from a very early age, understood that work experience was kind of king, and it was really paramount to anything else. And I learned so much through those internships about absolutely what I did not want to do as a journalist, and that was daily news, crime, things that were very, very emotionally draining and challenging. So I thought to myself, I know what I will do. I will specialize and I will cover business. Like, that should be easy, 9 to 5, I can go home. And I was totally wrong about that, because covering business and finance is really, really hard. Internships taught me a lot, and taught me a lot about the importance of specialization from the time I was a teenager. And that really guided me, I think, through my entire career, even today.
Okay, did you catch all that? Asia just gave us a real one-on-one on why internships are more than just resume fillers. They're literally test runs for your career. They help you figure out what you don't want to do just as much as what you do want to do. Even if the job isn't for you, the experience still is. Take notes, all right?
I'm the executive editor for national news at Axios. I run our national coverage, and we are focused in politics, tech, health, and business news. And we have a collection of newsletters, daily newsletters, that focus on those sectors. And I run our news strategy. So I hope that I structure most of my day to really be focused on the news of the day, what is important, what is breaking, how are we telling stories? Are we telling the most important stories, and are we telling them in the best way? It's not just about bolding and bullet points, even though bolding and bullet points are awesome. But I keep an eye on our newsroom, on our strategy, and also on our style, and that's across national.
All right, so let's break that down. If you're into writing, editing, breaking stories, or just want to shape how people consume news, you might want to be a future executive editor like Asia. Or maybe you're more into the newsletter game, content strategy, or building a brand's voice. There's space for that too. But she also dropped some gems. Here's what I really want you to take away. Start early and say yes to the experience, even if it's not glamorous. Every opportunity gives you data on yourself, your strengths, your dislikes, and your passions. And once you know what you don't want, you can finally zone in on what you do want to do. And that's where the real growth happens. Okay, now this next speaker is someone who's been in the game for a minute, and not just one role. Paul Rosen is a video producer, founder of Nitrous, a full-service creative post-production studio based right here in New York. He's basically done it all: editing, color grading, producing, project managing, and even handles sales. If you're into editing, problem solving, and keeping projects moving from start to finish like Paul, then this might be the right path for you.
So I consider myself a small business owner. Nitrous has been around for many, many years, and as such, I do every job that there is in the company, and I always have, and I never would expect anyone in my company not to do something that that I would do. I'm an editor, I'm a colorist also, so I find my clients, I do sales, I work with other people who also do sales, I manage the projects that we're doing, and I make sure that they all are delivered correctly. We work from the beginning of pre-production all the way through delivery. With all the kinds of clients that we have, I get to really be versatile, and every day is different, and you kind of have to just roll with it. So that's what I do.
Really quick, did you catch that? You can't wait a momentum. You have to create it. Sometimes staying busy means you've got to generate the next opportunity yourself, even if it is your big start.
When I was a kid, I wanted to do something with buttons and lights. I liked science fiction. And basically, when I went to NYU for a year, and then we ended up in Boston, I went to BU, and I got a job in the camera stockroom as a work study. So I checked equipment out for students. And it was something I really enjoyed. I enjoyed working with the students. I enjoyed learning about the equipment. I enjoyed fixing it. I enjoyed hearing stories about how it broke. There was a lot of fun. And so from there, I started teaching editing while still working there. And I said, wow, I really actually like editing. And that seems like something I want to do. And you just, if you're present, opportunities present themselves in front of you. And, you can say, oh, I'll try that. Yeah, I'll do that. And little by little, I became a freelancer basically as an editor. And I decided that at that time, I think I can do this better than places that I'm working at, because I'm sitting with clients 12 hours a day sometimes. And I was trying to figure out what it is that makes this all work. And I decided that I really like to make things work. And that kind of led me in the path to just start my own company. We had a studio for a month. We had it for 2 months. And then we got some more work in. And then we had MTV as a client. And then eventually, as a freelancer, I started pulling in all of my contacts, and then I had HBO as a client. And it just kept building and building. And, that kind of just ended up where we are today. And I don't have an MBA or anything. I'm very self-taught. So I can't say that I have the roadmap for you. I don't really even know what I'm doing today. I just kind of figure out every day because it's changing so fast.
Okay, some gems from Paul. You don't need a perfect plan. Just stay curious and keep building. There's power in being present. Sometimes the best paths are the ones you didn't expect. Be open to the unexpected. If you're into editing, running your own business, and constantly learning something new, you should definitely look into careers in production or post-production, creative direction, or even managing your own production studio like Paul. Next up, we're switching gears with someone whose love for live music led them to work for one of the biggest music streaming companies worldwide. But first, here are some major celebs that have also sort of stumbled into their careers. Harrison Ford was a carpenter before getting small roles in Hollywood. Working on a set got him cast in a George Lucas movie, which eventually led him into Star Wars. Chance the Rapper gained buzz after releasing a free mixtape during a 10-day school suspension. He wasn't signed, just passionate. Vera Wang didn't design her first wedding dress until she was 40. Before that, she was a figure skater and editor at Vogue. So you're not alone if you haven't found the right job yet. But evidently, if you stick it out, stay curious, and keep following your passion, even when your path isn't clear, you too can make it to the greats. Okay, let's hop right back into our lineup of speakers. And let's be honest, who has not wanted to be a rock star at some point in their lives? Well, meet someone who actually tried it. Chris Sampson might not have ended up on stage at Coachella, but he did find his way to a pretty epic role behind the scenes as the associate director and head of booking at Spotify. If you're into live music, obsessing over concert lineups, or being the friend who always finds the coolest new artists before they blow up, then this is a career path worth checking out.
I was in a band in high school and in college, so I had big dreams of being a rock and roll star. And when I finished school, the rest of the guys that I grew up with, they all moved to New York City, and we pounded the pavement and played a lot of shows, a lot of different venues, and quickly realized after a year and a half, 2 years, we were not going to be rock stars. And I thought, how am I going to still be around music? If I'm not going to be on stage, how do I help? How do I help? And so I think, talking about career paths, that was probably the hardest, is getting the foot in the door in the business in the beginning. I loved music so deeply and so passionately. I thought, I have to do something in music. If I'm not going to be on the mic, I want to be working with people who are going to be on the mic, on the stage, and how do I help them? And so part of it was finding a couple of artists that I really believed in and doing anything possible to help them. Sell their merch, move equipment off the stage, drive in a van with them to help them load in and load out different venues. And it just started all with, for me, a lot of just the passion and the drive to make sure I was surrounding myself with people that I really believed in to get my foot initially in the door.
Okay, so takeaway number 1 is, sometimes your dream job evolves into your dream adjacent, and that's still a win. Let's keep it going.
Day to day, my job and my team's job is at Spotify, we make sure we centralize the booking process. We're a big company. There's events happening all over the world. We want to make sure that we are aware of all the events that are happening and making sure that we're communicating that information to the rest of the company so everybody has that. Everybody's aware and on the same level. I've been at Spotify for almost 3 years, and I still feel like many times I'm coming into work for the first time. I'm coming into a company for the first time. And that to me is really exciting, invigorating, and a lot of it has to do with the people I get to work with.
Okay, so a few things to take away from Chris's journey. Start where you are, even if that means carrying gear, selling merch, or driving the van. Passion gets your foot in the door. The backstage crew is just as important as the stars on the stage, and sometimes way more powerful. They literally keep the show on the road. Anyway, let's keep this tour rolling. Up next, we're heading to our Careers in Media plus Tech panel. Do you love TikTok? Always on the For You page? Maybe even creating content on the side? Well, what if I told you that using social media could actually be your job? Yep. Social media is media, and some of the most slept on jobs in tech are in recruiting, strategy, sales, and content at the very platforms you're already using. Meet Laura Burkart, Global Talent Acquisition Lead at TikTok. She moved to New York to become an actress, ended up in sales, and still found a way to pivot her creative energy into a career inside one of the fastest growing social platforms on the planet. Here's how she made it happen and why you might want to consider doing the same.
When I moved to New York City, it was to be an actress, but it turns out I was a much better bartender. So once I kind of realized that I wanted health insurance, I decided to get a corporate position. And really my foot in was just a sales position. So I started as an executive recruiter, which is a very easy job to get, not a very easy job to keep. It was heavy in cold calling and all of that, but it was a very merit-driven type of environment. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I did know that creative spirit that I had that brought me to New York City, that I wanted to do something in a creative environment. So I sort of set up each step kind of progressively going towards, more and more creative companies. I was new to downloading TikTok and was pretty obsessed with it. And I was definitely the first one around the office that was like, hey, have you tried this new app yet? It's so fun. It's so engaging. It's so amazing. And then I just kind of had the epiphany, wow, I bet they might be hiring. But up until then had always kind of, stayed within the creative industry. So although I didn't realize my dream of an actress, I definitely used a lot of those skills in my day-to-day in terms of just, connecting with people, understanding people, that type of thing.
Okay, so I'm back for another pop-in. Get used to these. But hey, I'm here to help. So let's get into what Laura said. She didn't become an actress, but the skills she picked up from being in sales to connecting with people still helped her thrive in tech. Let your skills define your next career. Sometimes dreams shift, but they still show up, just in a different form. Okay? Got it? Laura, please carry on.
So my day-to-day is really just looking for new talent for our global business solutions team at TikTok, which is pretty much a large team that encompasses anything having to do with sales or marketing. So when you're on the TikTok app, anytime you see that top view ad when you first open the app or when you're scrolling and see ads, the team that I recruit for is part of that team. So my day-to-day could be anything from talking to a hiring manager, opening new positions, looking through resumes, interviewing candidates, coaching our hiring managers through the interview process, coaching candidates through the interview process. So it's really like most of the day-to-day. It's definitely a high volume role. It's one of our main, we call them bite styles. It's ByteDance is our parent company, is always day one. So we really take on that mentality of each day brings new challenges and, just being ready to tackle those.
See, you don't need a crystal clear blueprint to land your dream job. You just need a direction. Laura didn't map out every step. She just knew she wanted to work in a creative space, and boom, she ended up at TikTok. And let's be real, the apps we scroll on the daily, they're building empires and they're hiring people just like you. So don't sleep on the opportunities in social media and tech. If you love content, trends, and connecting with people, there's a career path waiting for you. And it's probably in your right pocket or your left, whichever you prefer. Okay, everyone, I just threw a lot of info at you, and it can be a lot to take in, but you've got this. I'm here to help you stay motivated. It's time for our Media Moves Pep Talk. So here's a summary of what was shared this episode. 1. Passion is your compass. Whether it was Asia staying curious or Paul switching to production, each speaker let their passion lead, even when the path wasn't clear. 2. There's no one-size-fits-all path. From Laura pivoting from acting to tech recruiting, to Chris going from rockstar hopeful to booking exec at Spotify, everyone's journey was anything but linear. And that's the point. 3. Start where you are. Use what you have, like joining your school newspaper, like Asia. Your start doesn't have to be glamorous or miraculous. it just has to be yours. 4. The media industry is built on people who figure it out as they go. All 4 speakers proved that careers in media aren't about having it all planned out. They're about showing up, staying curious, and being ready to grow. So, when to start? The answer is easy, now. Where to start? That can be a little bit difficult. You know more about media careers you like and don't like, but the question still lingers. How exactly can I start where I am today? To give you some motivation, here's Michelle Green, manager on the Audience Impact and Intelligence team at Paramount.
Don't underestimate that even if you are scrolling on the social medias of it all, you have experience. It's just learning how to say the right words and learning how to actually, advocate for yourself. I know even for me, I'm like, okay, Michelle, you scrolling on social media a lot. How can you monetize off of this? So I was able to go to my company and they were able to, pay for me to take a social media marketing course at Cornell. So I have my certification in that now. So I'm like, okay, girl, if you're gonna scroll on Instagram, it needs to be useful for you, something like that. So just also make sure that you utilize your resources, but never underestimate the power that's already within you. Understand that you're there for a reason and you have a voice.
So, if you're already in a corporation or organization, leaning more into your interests and speaking up about them can open up your path to new careers. If you're writing solo, have more of a freelance vibe, or just starting out, Sarita Gates has some wisdom for you.
I had a mentor when I was 17, and everything that I wanted to do, he would say, make it happen. Everything, to a fault, make it happen. But that made me an excellent executor. I can do anything that I say I'm gonna do, I can make it happen because he just told me to make it happen. I had to figure out all of the elements. Hey, if I'm doing a mural, I'm gonna need spray cans, I'm gonna need a budget, I'm gonna need muralists. If I'm doing a culinary competition, I need chefs and a location and a DJ. If I do a huge Lego build, I need a lot of people and a lot of Lego bricks, etc., etc. Because once you do one thing, pretty much depending on what the industry is literally copy, paste, remix.
Yes, thank you, Sarita, for the reminder. Make it happen. You don't have to, you get to make it happen. You get the opportunity to make it happen. That's the mentality you need. This episode proves there's no one way into media, only the way that works for you. This is just the start of Where Do I Start series, so stay tuned for more info on how to jumpstart your media career. Okay, folks, I'm getting a little tired. Time to wrap this up. All right, before I officially say goodbye, guys, it's time for something brand new. Say hello to the Lightning Wheel. We're talking fun media prizes, resume workshops, and maybe even something you didn't know you needed. And since this is our very first episode, I want to hear from you. Got a question about media careers? Want advice on getting your foot in the door, building a brand, or surviving that first internship? Send us your questions through DM for a chance to have your question featured in a future episode and win a spin on the Lightning Wheel. So don't be shy, let's make this thing interactive and win some prizes. Okay, everyone, so I hope you know a little more about which exciting media career you'll choose. And remember, you can start anytime. Your skills and interests will help you spot a career you'll actually love and thrive in. And the biggest thing, pick a focus. That's how you move with intention. Join us next week for our second episode, Navigating the Media Field as an Introvert. Send me your questions. Until next time, I'm Cami, and this was Make It in Media. Make It in Media from the Center for Communication is produced in association with BRIC, a leading arts and media institution anchored in downtown Brooklyn. Camila Brango is the show's host. The lead writer and executive producer is Derek Bourbon. Marangelica De Castro is the floor manager and head of social media. Fred Brown is the supervising producer. Clinton Filson Jr. is the director. Franklin Grant is the audio technician. Jonathan Ortiz is the operations director. Jose Astorga is the studio engineer. Joel Topsik is a consulting producer. And the show is edited by Marangelica De Castro and Derek Borbin.